When you think about urban high schools, images come to mind of low expectations, disorder, hopelessness, and a whole litany of constraints. What doesn't come to mind is a place where teachers and students make these constraints beautiful, and where people are setting out to change the world. And that's what we're doing at Leadership Public Schools. And speaking particularly with this audience, you may be familiar with a lot of ed tech innovations that come along. And this is a hot topic right now. And too often, these have been designed by techies with a lot of passion and heart. They try them out with their relatives and their neighborhood schools in prosperous areas, and then they scale them with zeal. And then over time, they're supposed to trickle down to the most challenged of the challenging students, and those are our students. Those are urban high school students who often are multiple years below grade level and who are in very under-resourced schools. And we've taken that paradigm and turned it on its head. And what we've done is taken our 4 charter high schools and turned them into an R&D lab, where what we are doing is developing responses to the most constraining constraints that are facing urban education. And then we develop ed tech apps, and we share them with schools and teachers everywhere, even high-income schools. So Mark and Adam were talking about the propelling questions, and that's when you have a bold ambition paired with a significant constraint. And it's a tension between those two that cause inventiveness. And I want to focus on just one of our constraints and the propelling question that that provides, and that's the constraint of lack of engagement. So in our schools, many of our students enter 9th grade 4 or more years below grade level. So if they're going to graduate college ready, that means they have to make 2 to 3 years growth per year that they're in high school. And this must be done in under-resourced schools and with students who often don't believe that they can do school. And so how is it possible to overcome such a significant constraint? The usual answer is remediation, and remediation is doing more. You give kids more time. They come to school after school. They come on Saturdays. You give them more individualized support from already overworked teachers. But this wasn't really an option for us, and we needed a new solution, a faster solution, one that would give kids just enough feedback right when they needed it in a way that would help them deal with the issue that they were experiencing at that moment, and that would provide micro successes and build their confidence and thereby create engagement. So we invested our limited resources in hiring a tech entrepreneur, and he became our Chief Innovation Officer. And we pulled together a design team of teachers, and we'd gotten some donated audience response clickers. We experimented with those. And then we threw out our propelling question. What if we could design the ultimate clicker? And this would be one that could accelerate student achievement multiple grade levels a year, that would be inexpensive, and that both students and teachers would love. And our design team responded. They said, we can, if we can design something that gives teachers the information that they need right then and there. Not after they finish grading homework, not something that they do after school, but in the classroom, in the moment, right at this time. And they said, we can if we can give students something that is so engaging that they beg to use it, and so empowering that they have the means to overcome their own deficiencies. So they set about designing the ultimate clicker, and our CIO and his team in India built it on a shoestring, and Exit Ticket was born. So Exit Ticket allows students to use any Wi-Fi enabled device to answer multiple quizzes during a period and then track their own progress. Teachers see the data in real time on a heat map on an iPad, and they know when an individual student or the class is ready to move on. And for instance, when they're checking on the homework. Do you need to review all the homework, or is it only question 3? Does every student need review, or only these 5 students? It was so engaging that one of our math teachers would threaten to remove the iPods and make kids take traditional quizzes when they were being rowdy. And that was the newest discipline technique. And it worked. We're now regularly seeing over 2 years growth per year particularly among our 9th grade students, which is our critical first year. And all this came about by, thank you. And this was from embracing the constraints that we have and thinking, instead of doing more, to do less. So we wanted to know what's just enough to do at just the right time, giving just the right amount of information and right amount of support. And it came from creating abundance. By getting student buy-in, we were able to tap the most underutilized resource in urban education, and that's the resource of the students themselves. You can't make high school students learn. Probably all of you had experiences with teachers trying to make you learn. It doesn't work. But if a student wants to learn, even if they're many years below grade level, they can put in the effort and they can overcome their odds. So this is the critical resource that we most underutilize when we look at urban education. And so other schools started begging to have access to exit ticket. But we don't have the bandwidth to support teachers and students in Cleveland. And so we spun off an edtech startup called Edstart. And we now have over 300,000 users in almost 200 countries. And that's up from 100,000 users in about 100 countries 4 months ago. So anyway, this is the J curve that you guys talk about. And at LPS, we're not producers and supporters of educational technology. We're a design laboratory. And so we're now on developing more products that are addressing more propelling questions. And actually, our basic design tool is using free Google foundational applications, and we do rapid iteration. Right now we have 2 products in development, and they're all built on free Google functionalities, and we hope to take both of them web-based this spring. So this has been our journey of using constraints and overcoming a few odds. And I invite you to find out more. This is our URL, and there's some cards out there. And then also, if some of you would like to join us in our beautifully constrained journey, we are seeking our first round of investors for Edstart. So thank you.